we are live.
Good evening, all of you. I hope you are surviving well, taking care of yourselves and of each other. Right now, in these times, as we are having a lot less interpersonal interaction than usual, not being self-focused is vitally important. You'll get depressed, anxious, stressed. If you focus continuously on yourself, what you're doing, and how you feel, keep your mind, your heart open to others. Think about others. I found some old coconut chips in the back of the cupboard. A bit stale, but not rancid. I have a very happy squirrel. I was watching him this morning when I was sitting. My bedroom, and where I sit in the mornings, looks out onto the backyard. And the grin on his face as he took little nibbles, they're sweet. And I don't think he gets that flavor much. Now, I don't know for a fact that squirrels have sweet taste buds. Cats don't, dogs do. But I suspect that they do, being as they normally are vegetarian. Wow, was he happy. I have bird feeders out there too, to make the birds happy. Even if all you have is birds in the tree that aren't you to focus on, open your attention to what others are doing, how others are feeling. This is vitally important in these times. Chuku. Damn, I'm froggy already. Chuku kunduzongbo gombo Dorji Sampagarab Dorji Dang Shiri Singi Bardu Shinlap De Dedam Abzam Tata Tusunchi Zogchen Jupe Lamala Soloa Ergin Pema Junela Soloa Dorje Chang Chitalo Narudam Marpa Mila Gompo Tatapa Na Pupadang Palden Drupa Suk Karkula Manamla Soloa O Chen Lama Namla Soloa Do Chen Lama Namla Soloa Shak Chen Lama Namla Soloa Nyendu Dahyundran Lama Namla Soloa Alpandu Jongdang Yerme Pa Gangara Dorji Jintrat Pa Jetidang Nisume Pa Lamanam Chetente Chong. The topic of these teachings today and tomorrow is love in all its many permutations. There is the love you have for your close friends, your buddies. There is the love you have or try to have for all random sentient beings throughout the universe. For most of us, that feels a little diffused, a little unspecific. There is romantic love, which is beautiful, wondrous, sticky, sometimes even slimy. There is the love a mother being has for its babies, the love you have for your cat or your dog. All these different kinds of love. The basis, that which makes you able to love, is awareness. The fact that you can think and feel is because you are alive, awake, aware. You are moving. You are also infinite open stillness, beyond coming and going, arising and dissolving. Infinite open awareness without an object. Stillness. And the moving does not bother the stillness. And the stillness does not hinder the moving. It is, in fact, the union of the moving and the stillness, which is symbolized by romantic love. This union, the moving stillness, the union of method and wisdom, the union of emptiness and compassion. This is the very symbol seen in all of the Yabbyum Tonkas, and even in those Tonkas in which a single being or archetype is shown, such as Vajrayogini. She has a trident leaning against her shoulder. I'm thinking of Dorji Padmo, actually. I can't remember if Vajrayogini has some. Guru Rinpoche certainly does. Many who are depicted singly have that trident, and the trident is the symbol of their consort. The symbol that they are not tipped to one side or the other, not tipped into emptiness and missing how vitality manifests, not tipped into running around and doing all sorts of stuff and missing the stillness of emptiness. Do not try to find this outside of yourself. Do not try to find this inside of yourself. For it is beyond the duality concept of inside and outside. When we take refuge in the three jewels. Jewels are the symbol of all that is beautiful, all that is good. Three is the symbol of the non-binary, nature of the universe. It's not either or, is or isn't. Let us, for a moment, take refuge together with understanding of what we are saying, because all of these teachings are contained in there, in the first and the last point. Sanje Chugedun. Repeat after me. La Chapsu Chiwo. I can't do this slowly. The first one, the outer refuge. I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Sanje Chu Gedun La Chapsu Chiwo. Sanjay, Buddha, doesn't just mean the historical Buddha, Guru Shakyamuni, but the Buddha before him, and the one before him, and the one before him, and the one before him, throughout infinity. And the Buddha after him, and the one after that, and the one after that, and the one after that, throughout eternity. All Buddhas of the four times, of the past, the present, and the future, and outside of time, the fourth time, beyond coming and going, beyond is and isn't. All Buddhas everywhere. Guess who's part of that? You. Yeah, you're in there. Because you, somewhere, somewhen, in the fullness of time and space, are a fully enlightened being. You may not feel it right now. In fact, you may feel royally fucked up right now. Many do. It comes and goes. I feel that sometimes. Those are feelings that come and go, up and down, supported by thoughts, interwoven with perception. Don't pay them no never mind. Look beyond the moving, the coming and going. At the fourth time, where you are fully enlightened. Dharma, path. All Buddhas of the four times. Their motivation, if there might be said to be one, is the becoming of that. And the methods given for the becoming of that are called Dharma. And it's not just your lineage. It's any path that leads beyond the beyond. Consider just how big this universe is. Yeah, it's bigger than you think it is. It's bigger than that too. Imagine the number of lineages that must have arisen among Homo sapiens and among not Homo sapiens. The La have lineage. The Nagas also. Perhaps the dolphins. Maybe even octopi who communicate by changing the colors in their skin with their chromophores. We don't know because we don't speak those languages. We cannot say for a fact that they do not have lineage or that they do. Become comfortable with the not knowing, because it's always going to be bigger than what you know. Sangha is all those who walk a path to openness. And how do you recognize which paths walk towards openness? It's not just because they're called Buddhism. Look at Myanmar, where the Buddhists are currently or have recently been killing off the Muslims in an attempted genocide. Just because it's called Buddhist doesn't mean it's Dharma. Look at the paths that you see before you. If there is loving kindness manifest in that path, it is much more likely to be a valid path. And if the path is manifesting cruelty, tightness, is increasing the stress levels for those who walk it in what appears to be a permanent way. That's digpa. That isn't out. That's down. Don't go by the name of the path. Go by the open-heartedness within it. Lama idam kandro la chapsuchi wo. I take refuge in the teacher, the archetype, and the dakinis and dakas. The teacher, symbol of the Buddhas. The teacher, in their teachings, a doorway to your own place among the Buddhas. Eden, archetype. These multiple symbolic representations, usually in human or semi-human form, of all beings, their innate vitality, that not movement, but the ability to move, the ability to think, the ability to feel. And dakas and dakinis, the pure manifestation of movement in emptiness as emptiness. That's why they're called skywalkers. To heterosexual men, they are generally seen as female. To heterosexual females, they are generally perceived as male. They are the symbol, dakas and dakinis, of the two sides of the path, method and wisdom. As the yidams, they are utterly in union, shown in symbolic union. And as I'm talking here, do remember that if questions come up for you, ask them, because I will be stopping periodically to answer any misunderstandings or confusions that arise. which are really easy to happen here on account of we're talking about things that are non-conceptual. We're sticking what doesn't fit in words. We're sticking the edge of it in the words. Whichever gender you feel you are not manifesting as, that you feel you want more of, that would often be your visualization of Daka and Dakinis. Really, gender is just a symbol here. It's a symbol for the energy of creativity. No, let me say that a little differently. It's a symbol for the creation of the energy of creativity. Look, chuku, lonku, truku, lachapsu chiwo. In the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, I take refuge. Dharmakaya, infinite open spaciousness, stillness, beyond thought, beyond concept, empty of characteristics of concepts, but not empty of vitality. That infinite openness, emptiness, is awake and aware. The teacher symbolizes what they point at, which is what most sentient beings miss, being so obsessive, compulsively focused on the moving, on things that make noise and flash lights and do things, on the doings, on the manifest, on matter. So the teacher is the symbol of the Dharmakaya, because that's where they point. The Sambhogakaya, the yidams, the archetypes, the symbolic representations of vitality, of awake awareness, of the clear light nature of the infinite open vast emptiness. This is the vitality of the universe. It's everywhere. It's what has you there looking out from behind your own eyes. It's what gives you the ability to think, feel, perceive, experience joy and suffering, aliveness, vitality. And the Nirmanakaya, manifestation, form. The dance of the Dakas and the Dakinis. Skywalking. Form without attachment to its formation. Ever have a lucid dream where you knew you were dreaming, but you're completely relaxed? You don't much care what you dream next. You're not trying to do anything with it. You just, watch and see what happens. It's like watching a movie. Yeah, like that. Unattached. So, what I'm really describing here in all of this is yourself. The emptiness, Dharmakaya, that which at which the teacher points to get you to stop your obsession with form briefly. That's you. You are that. But you are a feeler, thinker, perceiver, sufferer, joyful experiencer. You are alive, vital and aware. Sambhogakaya, that's you. And form, meat, stuff, phenomena, both inner and outer. Your thoughts, your feelings, your perceptions, which are so interwoven together that you cannot separate them from each other. You are that. That's your personality. Whatever you think, feel, perceive in this moment is the clump, the heap that thinks it's you. Because it's alive. But that thought that you are arises in emptiness as emptiness and has never been other than emptiness. Sa lung tigli, the Japsuchiwo. Your energy channels. Oh, you hold them small. You wrap them around yourself because your attention is focused on the nearby. Your laundry, your family, your friends, your life. That's a cramp. This is why I'm trying to tell you to let go, to try to relax that self and nearby focused cramp so that your vitality, your awake awareness, innate, your Sambhogakaya nature is not constrained by that. So that you can freely dance in the sky as the Daka and Dakini that you are. Lung is the chi, the aliveness, the force of vitality that flows through the channels. And Tigli is the creation of that. This infinite, vast, open awareness of Dharmakaya, together with the manifestations of form and phenomena, female, infinite open awareness, vast like the sky, phenomena, your thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, all the stuff, what you think about the stuff and how you feel about the stuff. They come together as yab-yum mating and give birth to consciousness, rigpa, awake awareness. Do you see that? This is the union of form and emptiness. And that energy of coming together is love. And the vitality of the Sambhogakaya is love. You are alive in the love of aliveness. If I were to point a gun at your head, you would feel, in most likelihood, in most moments, that you did not want to die because you love life as you love your dog, your cat, your wife, your kid, the squirrel, as you love the manifestation, as you love the emptiness. And Daka, the energy of great-hearted open-heartedness, the energy of the hero, the energy which is outward focused, yearns for the vastness of the sky. Remember that old line from a rock tune? Gonna fire all of my guns at once and blast off into space. This is the yearning of the Daka, the male aspect, to be encompassed, embraced, and expanded by the infinite spaciousness of Dharmakaya, and so give birth to awareness. And the sky loves matter. Sky space, this infinite open awareness without the dance of form, the dance of phenomena, would be just a big dead old nothing. Nothing happens, nothing's there. But that infinite openness loves phenomena, loves the dance. And so the full gamut of manifestation arises everywhere, every when. And you dance it in the sky. Let's see if we have questions so far.
We have a couple here.
Let's have one.
If one has experiences of the union/lovemaking of empty space and awareness existence, does that have any implications for the practice?
Yes, it's good for the practice. However, usually when we are having sex, making love, making lust, we are really busy to get to the orgasm. We get, especially as you get close to the orgasm, this is why guys are so bad at the withdrawal method. You don't want to stop then. Nobody does. Go on, try it tonight. Have some sex. If you're in alone, use your hand. Use a vibrator. Look and see right there before the orgasm, as you're getting close, the thing you want most in the whole world is to come. Yeah. This is normal. That is not the bliss that is spoken about in consort practice. It is literally a symbolic activity of the making love of form with emptiness, and the making love of emptiness with form. It is beyond the limitations of the momentary orgasms, which are lots of fun, nothing wrong with them. I'm not putting down orgasms, guys, they're great. But they are limited, and they're over way too soon. And then you just want to roll over and go to sleep, right? That's not the point. It's a symbol. You do not require another person to accomplish consort practice. You can accomplish it with the universe. It's doable. I think I answered that one. Next.
Yes. Next is, so after my out of body experience, I came back as a unisex aspect of life. What do I do with my vessel to balance what is
But
needed?
that's fine. You're balanced. Why should you have to do something with it? Leave it be. A unisex vessel of light seems like quite a reasonable thing to be for the moment. It'll pass. It's a yam. But you can hit it with pet. But actually, you are a unisex vessel of light. Gender is just something temporarily we put on for convenience. Oh, wait, don't they now use the word gender for the one you choose and sex for the one you're born? Am I using them backwards?
Gosh,
I'm trying to
once
remember the
you asked
current
that,
terminology.
my brain went blank as to which one it is.
I'm using gender to refer to whether you have an innie or an outie, which is really not all that important. Who cares if you have an innie or an outie? Well, you have some career issues if you've got an innie. There's things they still don't let you do. But other than that, it's not a big deal. I'm not sure I answered that one. Say the question again.
After my out of body experience, I came back as a unisex aspect of life. So, what do I do with my vessel to balance what is needed?
That's really going to be hard to answer specifically towards you. It's a nyam, but everything you experience is a nyam. Nyam just means experience. You're always having nyams. Let them be. If they get stuck, hit them with pet. But that may not be stuck. If it is, hit it with pet. If it's just moving through, enjoy. If your energy seems to be rising too far towards the head, treat for lung. And there's all sorts of things you can do for lung. That's where you have this experience where your eyes are too bright and you can't sleep. And you're like, and it's a little bit kind of distorty. That happens when your channels expand in one direction but not in the other. They're still too narrow. So the chi moving through them starts squeaking. Salum tigli la chapsuchio. In reality, when you are not constrained by the human Homo sapien form, either in the bardo or in dream time, it is possible to relax your channels sufficiently that they contain the entire universe, with the innate vitality of the universe flowing within them. Moving, stillness, manifesting as all phenomena. You can be that, but not, your body won't let you be that in normal day-to-day life. It's a dream yoga thing or a bardo thing. You are constrained right now by having a central channel in front of your spine and two side channels and certain patterns of the minor channels and chakras that are specific to human beings. And there's a whole set of teachings that works with how to expand those. I'm going to recommend, if you wish to get into that, there's one person I recommend, one Lama who's really good at it but does not speak English. Tenzin Wanda, who I believe lives in the Bay Area, but anyway has a website. He should be able to teach you that. He's quite skilled. Go find him for Tsalung teachings. I only practiced Tsalung concertedly for a few years. He's done it for many, many more than I have. Any other questions?
Yes. Let's see. The next one is, what is the reason that most of the Tonkas are shown as female Dakinis and not male Dakas?
Painted by Tibetan guys. The lineage in Tibet was preserved primarily by males. Therefore, most of the teachings are designed for males. And specifically, their methods, right? They're designed to work on male Tibetans. It's a pretty macho culture, especially among the Kampas. If you are not comfortable becoming a male Tibetan, there are certain methods that you should avoid because they won't work on you. And they may even fuck you up. So the preponderance of images and poetry that we have out of Tibet, not all, but the preponderance, is written by guys. There'll be a slight yang slant to that, as well as a number of cultural slants. Next.
What's up with Tumo in relation to this? Is it basically inner/secret consort practice? Consort practice that's done with one's own subtle body, male and female forms.
Yeah. Tumo, you've got to be capable of Tumo in order to do any kind of consort practice. Because that inner fire that you learn to work with in Tumo is the female aspect. And the inner bodhisattva creativity is the male aspect. Within a Homo sapien body, the red aspect, the fire aspect, is contained in the area of the uterus. And the white aspect, the bodhisattva aspect of form creativity, is contained within the brain, pretty close to the middle of it. So when you bring those two together, which is part of your training, in Tumo you learn how to work with the fire energy. There are other practices you do also that teaches you to work with the cool white energy. When you bring those two together, you are in a physically symbolic way bringing together the infinite open awareness, Dharmakaya nature of mind, and the infinite manifestation of phenomena, Nirmanakaya nature of mind. And when you bring these two together, The pure Yeshi primordial wisdom, direct awareness is actualized. So that's how that works. These are not instructions on how to do it, guys. Don't, from this how it works, try to go do it yourself. Get the proper teachings. Go see Tenzin Wangyal and get Tumo. Takes you a couple of years to get it, so you better have intention and follow through if you're going that way. But you can do it. Do not try it from books. Oh, please don't try it from books. You'll do yourself a serious mischief. Next.
Okay. Next question is, can you please say more about Tigli, its function and meaning?
Tigli is the energy of Bodhicitta, the energy of manifestation. It is the yang aspect. It is white and cool. It is that which is created by creativity, which is not separate from the creativity, which is an inherent aspect of vitality, all of which arises in emptiness as emptiness and never has been other than that. The sky is fire. The cool solidity of matter is Tigli. You can see the symbol of this at twilight, when it's just a little too dark to see. If you sit with your eyes relaxed, looking outwards, you may notice that everything is made of tiny little dots, pixels, not solid. Pixels are Tigli. However, when we speak about Tiglis in practice, we can be referring to semen, just as a euphemism for a lama's penis is called his dorji. Oh God, there's so many Tibetan funny stories about putting the condom on the dorji and sticking it on the altar. Great sense of humor. I digressed. But semen is Tigli. It's the male creative aspect. It is the thing that men contribute, together with a woman's heat and blood, which hold the egg, which hold the vitality and the ability to nourish the egg, which create the placenta, that create birth. And birth is a symptom of being alive. Birth and death are both symptoms, but you can't take this solid. See the pixels. Now, these are not the pixels that we work with in Togyal. Tigli can refer to many different things, such as manifestation, phenomena, or jism. I think I answered that.
Can you share any thoughts on sexual misconduct as discussed in such contexts as Words of My Perfect Teacher, Patro Rinpoche, and within the Vajrayana path in general?
It is sexual misconduct to have sex with someone who doesn't want to have sex with you, whether you coerce them or you bribe them or you grab them and throw them upon the ground. And it is sexual misconduct to have sex with someone who is not free to have sex with you. For example, they may be in a monogamous relationship, or they may have a vow of celibacy, or they may be working on a practice such as tumo that may require celibacy while working on it at certain times. They are not free to have sex with you, even though they may want to. It's up to you to figure out who's free and who isn't. It's just like if you don't want a baby, it's you who's responsible for contraception, because you just never know about the other guy. And some monks lie. I generally have always avoided having sex with Tibetans with short hair. It's safer. Now, having sex for fun is fine. Among consenting adults, to give each other pleasure for pure enjoyment, like cooking a lovely meal for someone, there's absolutely no reason not to do this. However, where the problems come in are because we have so much energy in that, and it creates energy chemically. When semen mixes with vaginal juices, a scent-based chemical bond is formed between the two participants. It takes rather a bit of effort to resist falling in love with someone you just had a nice orgasm with, even if it was supposed to be just for fun. And that's where it gets sticky, where you have one person who thinks it's just for fun and another person who thinks it's all serious and something might come of it. And it gets even worse when the cultural signals get crossed. In India, unfortunately, among Indian girls, a virtuous woman is supposed to resist sex even if she wants it. This causes great confusion for the guys, trying to figure out which no is no. That's culturally really confusing. So, in order to avoid creating harm by having sex, know yourself. Know whether you tend to fall in love with anybody who gives you an orgasm or whether you are a for fun person. Some of you who I know personally, I'm smiling about and thinking about, who I know are strongly one way or the other. Be careful if there is a difference in power. If somehow hierarchically at work or at play, one of you is highly above the other, that can be sticky to work with. What it is, sexual misconduct, is causing harm sexually. If you are a for fun person and you become involved in a for keeps person, somebody's going to get hurt. And when somebody gets hurt, it gets dikpa. It causes stress and strife. So aside from your basic rules of being aware of someone's vows and being careful to avoid breaking their vows, and being really careful to make sure that the consent is real and not, oh, gee, I'm going to get fired if I don't, I guess I'd better. Tread with caution because the energy is so strong. If there's more questions on this subject, ask, but I think I addressed what you phrased. Next.
I think that there is a connection between long life practices and feeling complete love in your own space. Is it like this?
Yes. Love. Not sticky love, not, oh my God, does he like me? Does he not like me? Yada, yada, yada. Not that kind of love, but real love. Open-hearted, great-hearted love of Bodhisattva. Ninji is the opposite of stressful. Stress is bad for your health. Digpa, negative actions, create stress. Positive actions, de-stress. Gewa is good for your health and Digpa is bad for your health. It's kind of simple. The more constricted and constrained you are, the more misfortune you are likely to accrue and draw into your environment. Bodhisattva, which literally means Buddha, Sita, consciousness. Buddha consciousness, innate awareness, the vitality of the universe. Ninji, great-heartedness, open-heartedness. The dance of form in emptiness as emptiness in all its vitality. Shall I teach you a simple way, an easy way to increase your bodhisattva? Manis. They're easy. And they work. The Om is the seed syllable of form of manifestation of phenomena. Mani. Ma-ni. Refers to all that is precious, the wish-fulfilling jewel, the arising of the arisings in utter satisfaction, happiness, without that all-pervading angst that bothers everybody. You know that angst I'm talking about. A basic dissatisfaction where your practice isn't good enough and your house isn't good enough and your food isn't good enough and Your clothes aren't good enough, and you got to go get us something, and you got to go get us something. And it's always there. Striving, angst. The wish-fulfilling jewel is the opposite of angst. It's the utter, total peacefulness of satisfaction in the moment, as the moment, just as it is. It's perfectly fine. Mani Padme, lotus. The lotus has its roots in muck. The muck is a symbol of the suffering of samsara. The muck is that angst, that dissatisfaction, that continuous striving and running around in circles and doing themselves a bit of damage that all living beings are beset by. But it blooms above the surface of the water, utterly pure and pristine, nourished by the muck. The lotus, just as a dorji, is a euphemism for your pecker. Pema is a euphemism for a woman's genital area, for your twat, the pubis, that area. So the lotus is the infinite openness of awareness, Dharmakaya nature of mind, the innate creativity of the sky, which encompasses all form and remains utterly pure and unsulliable. Hum is the seed syllable for nature of mind. And Hri is the seed syllable for the light of awareness. Om, form, is the masculine aspect. The dance of Bodhisattva, the hero's dance. Mani is the preciousness of satisfaction. Padme is the female aspect of vitality and heat and movement that pervades infinite open awareness, emptiness. That it's not just a big cold dead all nothing. Om is mind itself. Your mind, your heart. And Hri is the light which pervades it. I'll get you something. Can you see it all?
There's a bit of a delay. Let's see. Probably the very bottom. Do you need help holding it up higher?
No.
Okay. Because we can also bring the end of it forward in that
Now
way.
let's go like here.
Yeah.
And then here.
Now, that should do it.
Check and see.
Yeah, now I think you have it.
Okay, so these are the syllables. The Om relates to the God realm. It relates to in feelings. The God realm is pride. The Ma relates to the non-gods. The non-gods are a sensation of jealousy and competition.
The Om isn't visible.
Okay, I'll do it like this. Here's the Om.
Okay.
Here's your Om. God realm, pride. Here's your Ma, jealousy, competitiveness. Here's your Ni, human realm. Overthinking, can't shut up, tries to intellectualize everything. It's actually an emotion. Pod, animal. That is epitome of selfishness, self-focusedness. Prey and predator, survive, eat or be eaten. May, the hungry ghosts, the highest level of dissatisfaction, wanting, never satisfied, miserable, can't get enough, money, time, space, surface area, whatever it is. Hung, hell realms, pain, suffering, anger, fear. Creep, light. This Tonka was painted by Phyllis. What's Phyllis's last name?
Glanville.
Glanville.
Yes.
Any one of you who wants a Tonka from her, she's amazing and does sell them. Send me an email and I'll send it on to her. Amazing Tonka painter. Long-term student from crochet.
I think they can also search for her on Facebook.
You can search for her on Facebook also. Phyllis Glanville, the Tonka painter. So each of these, I don't know if you can see it on here, it's pretty subtle, but each of these Tigleys, as they're painted as Tigleys, has a color. And all of those colors together, as the mantra turns in your heart, there's many realities to this. So one of the realities is that the light shines forth to these different realms and purifies and rescues the beings stuck in these realms. But it also shines forth in this realm and lessens the pride, jealousy, overthinking, selfishness, desire, and suffering that exists in this realm. It also soothes your emotions and those in your immediate vicinity. So when you're really upset and troubled by something, you're really angry or afraid, you can say this mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. And if you say it softly, gently, everybody around you feels better. Softer, gentler, it diffuses things. I've been known to walk up to people about to get in a fight and just muttering it softly under my breath, and they cool off and wander off. You can use it to get cranky babies to go to sleep too, which is what the Tibetans are always using it for. And I am not a singer, but if you all go out on YouTube, you can find beautiful singers singing it in a variety of tunes. I'll do a few for you, but there's others that do them better. This is one if I can do it from Rinpoche. Padme Hum. You can do it to show tunes too. The way I usually do it. Money, mommy, money, mommy, oh, money, mommy, oh, money, mommy, oh, money, mommy, oh, money, mommy, feel that? Softer. It's an amazing practice. It's one of the most common practice of Tibetans, not because it's for beginners, but because it's one of the ones that works really, really well, really, really fast. And that's why everybody does it. It's effective. There is visualization of a sadhana that goes with it. If you're interested, ask, and I'll teach that whole thing tomorrow when I think we're back together again. For now, any questions on this?
Yes. Is it possible to allow the channels to expand without limitation as one is falling asleep in the interval before dreaming begins?
Yes. Next.
That was it. Okay. How to integrate my Dzogchen practice with a partner during sexual intercourse? Is there a practice you could share?
At all times and on all occasions. This one too. Recognize the already seen Dharmakaya nature of mind. It's a quote from Garib Dorji. This is the practice of Gom. While getting up and sitting down, while taking a shit, eating food, or having sex, whatever you're doing while you do it, notice. Dharmakaya nature of mind. That's very simple. Don't pester your partner to do it. That's up to them whether they want to do that or not. You do it. It's not instead of making love, it goes with the making love. And next.
Can you talk about Daka and Dakini vital energy?
I think that's what I've been talking about all morning. However, the vital energy of a Daka is bodhicitta. Just because you're gotten outie doesn't mean you're a Daka. You might be a Dakini. The vital energy of a Dakini is shunyata. The coming together of the Daka and the Dakini is the union of method and wisdom, the realization of the Sambhogakaya, the manifestation of your yidam. The Dakini energy is yearned for by men, specifically hetero men, because it is lacking. It is the nature of the male aspect. And let me say that this is about energy. Most human beings, most human beings have both. It's like a spectrum, a range. Very few guys are fully on the masculine range. And most of those are in prison, too young. It is, but there's a birth defect of a double Y chromosome that some guys have. And it's most common among prisoners who are in jail for breaking laws. Now, admittedly, here in America, it's really easy. We probably imprison more of our population than anybody else. And if you are not white, it's even easier because we imprison more of our not white population, much than we do the white folks, which is something we're still working on here in this country. However, to be too exclusively yang tightens because it's all doing without space for the doing to accrue in. To be too exclusively yin is almost too passive to get out of bed. Just infinite openness. So what you want within yourself is a fairly mid-range balance of the two energies of doing and space within which to do. What I want is more coffee. Thank you. So we speak of dakas and dakinis, but they're symbols. We often will call a beautiful young female a dakini or a beautiful young male a daka. But we're taking them as symbols of that energy. Openness, vastness, dharmakaya nature of mind, sky dancer, sky space, infinite, vast expanse. Dakini dances there. And Daka, the hero that saves all sentient beings. Well, this is what motivates the dance of the Dakini. And the Daka cannot move in harmony without space to move in. So these two energies must be brought together. Don't slide too far into only doing and crying for the suffering in the world and can't take your mind off. And you can get paralyzed so that you can't help anybody when you're so upset by it. You're listing too far into form. Just as if you're so totally open, nothing happens. Together in the middle. Daka Dakini. Manifest both, not just a single one. And depending where you are in the masculine feminine spectrum on this day, at this stage in your life, you'll be a little bit one way or a little bit the other way, and that's fine. But work on finding the balance between emptiness and bodhicitta, so that you're not stuck in so much emptiness that you do not care about others. And you're not stuck in so much caring that you can't move because there's no space. Other questions?
Yes, there's a couple of questions that came in about the "re"
Okay,
syllable
yes.
at the end.
Mhm.
Do you pronounce it?
If you like.
And can you talk more about the meaning behind it and what it does for the Mani when it's included?
Light beyond compare. Inconceivable bright light. Behind the sunset. The western direction of love and lust. Opened into pure light. The seed syllable of Amitabha, who is the top head on the 11-headed thousand-armed Chenrezig, who rests in the center of Tara's crown. This is where the western direction symbolizes with the color red lust transformed to love. Lust without angst. The lust of the sky for matter, of matter for the openness of the sky. Which all of this coming together, the union of bodhicitta and openness, manifests as the light of vitality that pervades the universe. And that's the tree. It's a seed syllable. They don't translate, and they have vast layers and layers of meaning. It's the seed syllable of Amitabha. The archetype in the mandala of the West, the brightness behind the sunset where the sun goes at night, the brightness, reddish, white, clear, transparent light. Love is light. Vitality is light. When the Daka and the Dakini energies come together and Bodhicitta is in union with Sunyata, and the two are one thing, that one thing is the light, which is the Sambhogakaya manifesting. And from that light arise the infinite idioms, the archetypes of the different energies, all of them made of light. You know that when you visualize a yidam, anything, you don't visualize it as meat. You visualize it as light. Well, that's the tree. All of that contained in one sound. And when you say the tree, which is done either with, I like to do it with my manis. Some people just do it sometimes. It's really up to you. It brightens the light. When the mantra is turning on the lotus in your heart, Om Mani Padme Hum goes around, and Shri, which is also the seed syllable of the archetype of Bodhicitta, Chenrezig, sits in the middle. More questions?
Yes.
I like the questions part. It's really fun.
Well, here's one. Heterosexual women perceive dakas. Heterosexual men perceive dakinis. What do lesbians perceive?
Whatever they want, depending on their mood. Next.
Okay, let's see.
I suppose if you're a really butch lesbian, you're going to manifest as Daka and desire Dakini. Most of the dykes I know are a little more midline than that. I've known a few who are really far to one side or another, but most of us are somewhere on the spectrum. We got feminine parts and masculine parts. It was just that back in the 50s, you had to choose whether to be a butch or femme. It's much nicer now where you can be non-binary and whatever the fuck you want.
Are Cree and Shri different seed syllables, or are they just different pronunciations?
Well, I don't know what Shri you're talking about. Shri is HRI if you were to write it in English, but the R is not it's more est, so it's Shri. It's a funny, it works in Tibetan. I don't know, I think Shri. I do not know offhand the seed syllable Shri, but that's not to say one doesn't exist, and I will try to look that up later and get back to you tomorrow. There's a couple of texts I can look in that might tell me whether that's somewhere or not. No, those will tell me if I can find where it is. There's still stuff that's not in my texts. Next.
The last thing I hear before falling asleep is a sound like the sound of water, then I pass out. Is there a way to stay aware?
No, but you can rearise awareness afterward by setting your intent to do that and making habit. Wait a minute. You can stay aware, but you can't stay aware of an object. So if you go to sleep using the method of the white which is a teaching of Norbu Rinpoche's, and I think you should probably get it from one of his students, because it's not one that I am that familiar with. We did it just resting in the light rather than using a syllable for that. But if you go to sleep either resting in the light or in the white you can maintain, the goes away, the light remains, and you can sleep in the theta state in light. But there's nobody there really doing that, and it's not like it has subject and object where you're doing that, so you may miss it. It's a subtleness.
How to love the conceptual mind and its crazy, paranoid, hang on, it slipped off the screen there.
How to
Love the conceptual mind and its crazy, paranoid, tormentous creations.
Don't you like watching horror movies? Do you like reading adventure books? Do you like watching fails on YouTube? It's just not real. I mean, no, that's not what I want to say, because it's very real while you're experiencing it. Love the aliveness that permits that. You don't have to love the suffering, but you do have to take yourself and your experiences not all that seriously. Taking ourselves too seriously is one of the worst downfalls. You really get yourself into a twit taking yourself seriously. Don't do that. This is a good question. There is suffering, and suffering hurts. Love. Not the suffering, but the sufferer. Love, the vitality, the awareness, the awakeness. We see a distorted view of creation, distorted by our own pogchags, distorted by our neuroses, by our hopes and fears, by our pride and our jealousy, by overthinking, self-focusedness, selfishness, by our desires, by our fears and angers. All of this twists us up into knots, which squeak and cause more of that. Love the vitality. You will not be able to love phenomena for as long as you see it as outside of yourself. To love the arisings of phenomena, see the vitality of the experiencers of those arisings. Love the experiencer rather than the experience. All life, all beings, open your heart. Wide open. Both you and they will feel better. Mind you, love is not an alternative to common sense. Just because you love them, it doesn't mean you're going to let your 2-year-old play with matches. You're going to go take the matches away from your 2-year-old. Love is not stupid. I've seen woo-woo Westerners decide they love everybody, so they're not going to lock their door. That's dumb. You can love everybody and lock your car door when you're in the city. Why tempt some poor sod to break in to steal the pack of cigs left on the dashboard, or the change that's sitting there waiting for tolls and parking meters? They get digpa, you get digpa from that. So love is not intelligent, is not separate from intelligence. Let it expand all the way. Even include Republicans. That was a joke.
A question from the Spanish audience.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about the polarity of monogamy and polygamy?
There's no polarity. You should marry the number of people you want to marry. Some people don't like big marriages. Some do. I don't see a polarity there. You're going to have to ask further, because I'm not seeing any polarity between the two. It's a range. I mean, you marry however many people you want to be married to that want to be married to you. There are advantages to having more. The work gets divided among more people. You have more bread earners, the work gets done better. I guess there are advantages to having only two. I guess if you're not a very social person, you don't have more people that you have to socialize with. And Tibetans often have multiple marriages, more than two people in them. It worked really well in that culture and that climate. They still do, but they don't tell the Westerners because they think the Westerners will disapprove.
How to feel love again if you are stuck in fear, i.e., during the corona pandemics and kind of lost yourself? Maybe stuck in thoughts?
Do manis. Shine out the light. You don't need social interaction to feel love. Have you not got a friend that you love that you haven't seen for a while? Are there not people in your life who have died, but you still love them? If you like, put a request in here and I will teach the sadhana for doing manis as light. 1,000 Dharm Chinrezig tomorrow. I'm a little hoarse to do all of that. It's a lot of talking. Next question.
What can be done to balance the two energies of Daka Dakini within oneself?
Meditate on emptiness and compassion. Before you meditate, arise compassion. Before you perform actions of bodhicitta, such as helping someone, assisting someone, giving something away, notice emptiness. Bring them together. If you feel you are short on compassion, work with the light of the Sambhogakaya by doing manis and taking it for a time as you're given. If you feel you are short on emptiness, spend more time sitting in emptiness as emptiness. Do not look for a static completion. It is a dynamic, not a static balance between the two. A dance is always movement. Sometimes you're busy helping somebody out. You're not really doing that much practice in the moment and you've forgotten to glance at mind. Okay, yeah, it goes, it leans a bit. Sometimes you're mostly just sitting, there's nobody around, nobody needs anything from you, the bird feeders are full, the squirrel's got his breakfast. So you just sit there. It's dynamic and always moving. No thing moves. In order to actualize bodhicitta, the real bodhicitta, not the little one that we make up, you will need to see what you are because you see you aren't a thing. You are a node of interconnected phenomena, constantly changing and moving, a heap, a pile. You always have been, and so is everybody else. It's these interconnections as we affect each other through what we say, what we do, through a smile. Gewa is when through all the interconnectedness of the universe, you add, you manifest, you create openness, relaxation, love, happiness. And digpa is when you intentionally stress somebody out because you think it's funny, like putting a banana peel and then laughing when they fall. Digpa because it adds to the stress. Gewa because it diminishes the stress. Look at actions, to doings. Act with Gewa, motivated by loving kindness. Be empty, infinite, and open. You will move most easily as benefit for others. The more open you are, the more you benefit others, the more open you will find yourself able to be. It's a dance.
How can we transfer some of this wisdom to people indisposed, like refugees?
Feed them. Don't preach at a man whose stomach is empty. Feed him. Offer safety. Do what you can. Look around you. Find out what you can do on an active, practical manner. Unless a man asks, this is not what they want. And you can't shove it down anyone's throat. In fact, it is against the vows to push Dharma. You have to wait for the suck. In the meantime, feed the hungry, pet the cat, do what you can. Next question. And I'm getting hoarse, so we may end this fairly soon.
Well, two things. In the responses, people were definitely saying, yes, please, can we have the sadhana tomorrow?
And we will do it tomorrow. I want to have my notes out so I can show you the images. And I don't think they're in here. I have to go see where I put them.
And the other question is the 3-syllable in the Om Mani Padme Hum part of the traditional mantra?
Yes. Some people use it, some don't. It just sort of depends, I guess, on who taught you the mantra and your parents. And I know a lot of people who use it and a lot of people who don't among the Tibetans. Some people use it sometimes. I tend to use it sometimes, but not all the time.
Regarding the locking car doors example, can the same be applied to individuals who keep violating your boundaries? Or is more bodhicitta needed?
That's really going to be a situational answer. What you want to look at there is the balance of Digpa and Gewa. One needs to have certain boundaries in life because not everyone has the same sensibility. People, for example, I have boundaries in how much talking I can do at one time. That's physical. Some people would be happy to have a conversation for hours with a friend. But can they do it? So I have friends who love to talk for hours. And the amount of stress and strain and embarrassment when they realize they've gone way over my tolerance on their part creates more stress in the long run than me making it clear with them in a gentle way when I'm done. So the trick is to set the boundary before you're pissed off that they crossed the boundary. If you wait too long to set the boundary, you will already be pissed off and you will not set the boundary gracefully or with kindness. You will be doing it with and you don't want to do that. You are who you are today. You may notice that your boundaries move around. I'm thinking of something that occurred yesterday, where we have now going on in America this whole thing where followers of Donald Trump do not wear masks. And the more liberal folks who are against our current president do wear masks. And this is becoming an unfortunate political statement that is endangering a number of the more fragile people. And so I had a woman walking by with two children's, no masks on any of them. And the kids were certainly old enough, and she was old enough, a mother. They were looking at the flowers. And I told the little ones that they could each pick a flower if they liked them to take with them. And we got to talking. I was all the way up on the porch and they were down on the sidewalk. And the kids started to approach me, and I said, wait a minute, you can't come closer. You have to pick down there in the garden. You can't come up here because you're not wearing masks and I'm vulnerable. And okay, the kids got the boundary and they stayed down there in the garden. And then the mother began expressing an embarrassment about not wearing a mask. Like she was rethinking it. Like maybe she might. And she said it was hard to find masks to fit the kids. And we talked and, about what one might do instead of that. And it got into a nice conversation. And she had a rose and the little boy had a poppy and the little girl got a pink rock rose. They each chose their flower and wandered off. And I've got a sneaking suspicion if she comes back this way, she might be wearing a mask. Set a boundary very gently and early before it was crossed and the little ones got in my face without their masks on. But nicely with a gift of flowers. Do you see what I'm trying to make? Yes, you can set boundaries wherever you need to. And yes, you need good boundaries in this world the way it works. Don't try the pretending to be a better practitioner than you actually are. That just fucks you up. Well, I should not have boundaries out of Bodhicitta. That's like the guy who's sitting meditating and some guy comes up, starts talking to him, and he's just ignoring the guy. Like you can see the tension in his shoulders. The guy finally says, well, what are you meditating on? And the meditator answers, I'm meditating on patience. He was pretending to succeed at meditating on patience too long. Rather than when the guy first started, going, oh, isn't it a pretty day out and stuff like this. Saying, yes, it is, but I'm actually trying to be in silent meditation. End of problem. Do you see? I think this may make sense to you. It's okay to have boundaries. Let them naturally open in whichever way they naturally are going to open by your practice. Don't try to fake that you don't have boundaries because you don't think you should have boundaries. But do try to set them with gentleness. You'll get a lot easier, good result that way. And create Gewa. And I think that is about as much talking as I can do at a stretch. But we will be back again tomorrow evening. I'm sorry that it's only a single session a day, but it has to do with the time differential and me being kind of old. So that I can't quite manage to get up in the middle of the night and teach you. Sorry about that. I set a boundary and I apologize. But I kind of had to keep my health. I think you'd rather that I taught longer and more than get up in the middle of the night for just one teaching. Your questions that are on here will vanish if I haven't answered them yet. So you'll have to remember them and type them in again tomorrow, and I'll try to get to the rest of them. But I'm going to teach the sadhana first. I just have to go fish it out. Wadihi Nyurdudak Chi Sala Go Partial. Damn, I'm hoarse. Sorry about that tunelessness. You'll have to sing it nicely yourselves. See you tomorrow night.